Hello and welcome to Patents Live TV. This is episode 31. And as we've said in the past, we have our recordings on the first Tuesday of the month and the third Tuesday of the month. The first Tuesday is usually me presenting something of importance to share with you. But on our third Tuesday of the month, we have vendors that come in and do a special presentation with materials that might be of interest. And with me today, I have Jim Fortman from Vision Aid Systems, and he's going to show us a couple things that he brought in for a display. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Jim. If you want to show us what we have here.
I did bring a few of the newest, latest and greatest devices. It seems to me like mostly everything nowadays is like a high definition. Everything's going high definition, just like our TVs at home. So one of the new little teeny products they just came out with is called the Pebble. We've had the Pebble, as you know, for probably 5 years. Right. They just recently came out with this new version called the Pebble HD. And so it's the same size screen, a 4.3 inch, but it's about a third the weight. Because look, you can just kind of look and see how thin that is.
Sure. A lot thinner than the other one. I have the older version, so yes. Yeah, that really does.
And what they did with this one is the battery is internal, but it's supposed to last about 5 to 7 years. And you get about double the length from each charge, so it's going to use a rechargeable battery.
Okay, and about how long will that last?
The actual charge will last about 3 hours.
Okay.
And then the battery itself is supposed to last up to 7 years before you even need to replace them.
Right.
But as you recall, with like the other Pebble, you just place it over what you're trying to read, and then the user can magnify it up here on the screen. The user simply can hit the plus button to make the print bigger. And that got ahead of me there, but there's a little button there that they built in a talking date and time.
Sure.
Monday, November 11th, 2013.
And that's just built right into the unit. The other nice thing about this, like all of them, it has a handle, so I can hold it and feel how light that is and how comforting that handle is. It's really very comfortable to carry with you for the student. It has a nice little carrying case that they can put under their belt and carry it like a cell phone. And then the neat thing, they really thought of everything when they designed this. One of the new things, and I don't know how well we'll be able to see this, but it's perfectly balanced, so I can set it right there. And because the camera is out over the edge, now a student could get underneath there and do an art project or thread a needle or whatever they needed to do. The other nice thing about this camera, this design, is I can take the handle and put it like that, so at like a 45-degree angle. So now look, when I put it down there, the end user can now put their hands underneath there and thread a needle, whatever. They got hands free. You could put a medicine bottle back there or a project in the school. So that's kind of another way to do the hands free. Another nice feature on this one is the handle will actually bend up like that. And what they do with that is when the end user wants to take a note in the classroom or do a test with this, this one's designed very nice to write with. So they can just put it down like that and get their pen underneath there.
Sure.
And write with it. It also has the ability to, a lot of times they look up a telephone number. If you're visually impaired, by the time you get to the phone, you forget what the number is, but we have a little ability for this to take a snapshot.
Oh, okay.
And it freezes it on there. Now, if I would have held that snapshot down for 3 seconds, it would store that permanently on here. And you can save hundreds of phone numbers or important messages on there. And then we just hit the camera, it goes back to a live camera again.
Now, does that have an external device, or do you use an SD card, or is it all self-contained?
Great question. It does have a lot of memory built inside of it. It just has a mini USB cable, which is how you charge it. And if you did save a bunch of numbers in here, or class assignments, or whatever, you can download it to your computer and save all that on your computer, so it's kind of like a backup.
Nice.
But that's called the Pebble HD. And then the old Pebble was $645. They came out with this one for $595. So if you want to buy any old ones, I got several of them for you.
I'll keep that in mind. I think I'd go with the high def one now.
That's what everybody's doing now.
So what else do we have?
Well, the next big invention was called the DaVinci. That's this little guy right here. I'm going to kind of step to the back and show you. Built right inside here, in the back here's a handle. So I can just pick this up. The student could pick it up and move it from classroom to classroom pretty easily. It comes with a transportable carrying case, so you could roll it from class to class. Now, they call it transportable, not portable, because you still have to plug it in.
Sure.
But then all the student would do is put this underneath there. And now look, they can
Zoom 2.
make it whatever size letters they want.
Zoom 4.
We can really enhance the print.
Wow.
Enhanced positive.
These are all programmable. You can have up to like 64 different color combinations.
Really?
Black and white. Normal.
But this also does some other things. Like, so if the student wanted to see the blackboard, and I just kind of set up the Pebble box, they can take that camera and point it in the back.
Oh, yeah.
But if that was a blackboard, now the student could see the blackboard, or a teacher, or a PowerPoint presentation. They could see it all on their own screen, and they can control that. So if the professor, the teacher writes notes up there, they can now see them, magnify them.
That's a good 10 feet away, too.
Yeah, and it goes up to
Desktop.
infinity. We had a visually impaired student who was 17 feet away, was able to read newspaper-sized print
Really?
with this. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to scare everybody, but this also has a self view. So if the person did want to look at themselves to shave or put makeup on or whatever, it
Sure.
will also do that. So it's an added feature.
Desktop.
And then what they added on this thing, which is really amazing, and they really did this at no extra charge, was this unit has the ability to actually
Processing.
read this back to you.
Okay.
So I just put what I want read underneath there and hit the button, and
All-in-one HD video magnifier.
there you go, just starts reading.
Wow.
You can see it's highlighting the word that it's
This
reading.
is a high-performance desktop video magnifier.
And you see, it only took about 3 or 4 seconds. That's
Sure.
pretty quick.
It is pretty
that it
quick,
does it
yeah.
that quick.
Text-to-speech, OCR,
And the user can pause it and navigate around. That's all this little control box does.
Okay.
So you can go up a line, down a line, to the top of the page, to the bottom of the page. Sony high definition monitor and camera. So
You had mentioned earlier, before we came on online, that it actually, you can plug an iPad into it?
yes. If you want to just slide that iPad underneath there, you got one of 2 choices. The student can look at the iPad via just putting it underneath the camera, but built right into the back, right on your side over there, is a cable that you can go video out from there, put it in there. You don't even need that camera looking at it.
Right.
It will make this screen your iPad screen.
I see.
So
And you still have the control of zooming in and...
Yes. Yes, and it also, you could use your computer. So if you have a laptop and you wanted a bigger screen,
Okay.
you can plug your laptop into this and use this monitor as your computer monitor. And then what you do is these 2 buttons would just toggle between the reading machine, the DaVinci, and your computer.
Okay.
It just toggles back and forth.
So that's the master control there. Then.
Yeah, so this kind of does it all. So the student can see distance, the blackboard, the up close. They have plenty of room down underneath here. If they were doing any crafts in any of the biology classes or whatever, there's a lot of clearance down here, unlike a conventional desktop CCTV. And then like all the other features, hooking the computer to it and so forth.
Great.
So it's been quite a
Great.
project.
Very good. And we've got one more device there.
This is called the iPal Ace. And what this does, it's totally portable. And it's like the only one in the world that does this. It's got a little handle. Feel how light that is.
Oh, that is like.
It's less than 3 pounds, and you won't believe what it does when I show you what it does.
The weight is deceiving.
And it's got a built-in rechargeable battery. It's going to last 5 hours without electricity. So what we can do with this is we're going to just go into scan and read, and
Press the scan button to read a page.
I'll make that a little bit louder. There's a volume control there. So what you do is you just place what you want to have read in front of it. And we hit the scan button. And like the DaVinci, it's going to take a picture of that. I don't know if you heard it go like it was taking a photograph, because you're a photographer, aren't you?
Yep.
I thought so. Look how quickly. Now it's reading this back to you.
Wow.
DaVinci is a high-performance desktop.
Unlike a conventional CCTV, did you notice that this
Text-to-speech,
put it all in a column?
3-in-1 camera.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So there's no moving an XY table. It's all in a big long column. And this little lever right here actually can control the magnification. So even when I change the magnification, the column readjusts itself. So if I want to make it smaller, see how the column just keeps readjusting?
Sony HD camera, 24 inches high resolution.
We can pause it, and it has a little daisy buttons there so that it can navigate left, right, up, down. And then it has a lot of other features that
menu,
we don't really need to get
calendar.
into too much, but like on the
Today,
calendar.
Monday, November 11th, to add reminder. All reminders.
So if I wanted to play the reminders I have in there,
November 11th, 2013, 1:30. Listen to reminder.
This is just a reminder that this IPAL ACE can be checked out through patents for up to 30 days.
how did that get in there?
I don't know.
So
Pretty nice,
it's great
a
for
good
students
reminder.
to keep
Good
track of their schedules and all their homework assignments and everything. And especially if you're visually impaired or blind, this calendar will keep as infinite number. You can have one every hour. All you have to do is remember to go back and listen
Main
to it.
menu, calendar.
And then you can
Photo
save
album,
photographs in
clock.
there. It does have a talking clock. You can change the settings.
help.
And the thing, us guys, you know, because we never read manuals, this is a nice feature. You can go to the help screen, and no matter what button you hit, it tells you what that button does.
Oh, good.
Button. A semicircle button located on the right on the top of the device. Action
So we don't have to keep that manual
Located
on the side, do we?
on the right of the device above the right
And then we just hit
home
this
button.
twice to go back to the
Large
main
round
menu.
button.
Main menu, help.
But that's been really a lot of fun for the students because it does everything. It can read for a severely visually impaired student, or it magnifies up on the screen as you saw. It doesn't have to read. You can have it just magnify. So the student could put whatever they want down there. The other thing this will do, it has a feature called the book feature. So if they wanted to sit down, they being the student who's blind or visually impaired, they can scan their whole book in there because it scans like 3 pages a minute, or 3 or 4 pages a minute, depending on how good you are at it. And then it will store it in here. So you can store your entire history textbook right inside of here or on a little thumb drive.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate you
Thank
coming
you
in and
for your
sharing.
time, yes.
And we're going to go on to our next segment.
Great.
Hello again. I'm back with Dave Wilkinson from HIMS Incorporated, and he's got some devices he's going to share with us. And Dave, you'd like to start? What do we have
Sure.
here?
Jeff, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. And just to explain briefly the relationship between HIMS and with Jim with Vision Aid Systems, he is our local distributor. Our office is out of Austin, Texas. So I am here to show our products, but when you're looking at getting them, by all means, get in touch with Jim Fortman and not with me.
Good, very good.
So
Good to know.
the products that we have here are a couple of different models of a product called the BrailleSense U2. This is our latest note taker. It's been out for a little over a year. You'll notice that you've got one that has a Braille keyboard, and then in front of it here we have one that has a computer keyboard. The one that has a computer keyboard I have a little monitor plugged into, which is a portable visual display, and we'll get back to that in a moment.
Okay.
And over to the left is the U2 Mini. All of these have the exact same set of features. They're simply a difference in size. This unit is an 18-cell Braille display versus the other two being 32 cells. The other product that we have here that we'll get into a little bit is a product called the Braille Edge, which is a 40-cell Braille display. And the primary difference between the Braille display and a note taker is that the Braille display doesn't have a whole lot of other functions. I'm going to be hooking it up to my iPad, my iPhone, my Android device to be able to read off the screen. Whereas my note taker, as we're about to see, I can do all kinds of things on the note taker itself, and I can also branch out and look at my iPad, computer, iPhone, external device.
Sure.
So we'll start by looking at the BrailleSense U2, and one of the things that teachers in particular like about this is it has a built-in visual display, so that you will see, as I'm moving along here, you're seeing File Manager, Word Processor, email, and not that your students would ever do this, but it will allow you to actually see what your students are doing. We would like to think that they're always being attentive and studious, but that is possibly not always the case.
Students will be students. won't it?
Exactly. So it also helps out if a student runs into difficulties with a word, you know, if they're just not sure what something is, or to help them out with work in the classroom. So as I'm writing here, and I'm writing with speech turned off at the moment, so I'm going to turn speech on.
Voice on.
And one thing I
Link
noticed also
five,
with that
full cancel.
LCD screen is that it actually is forward facing. So if somebody's standing in front of you, you actually read it.
Correct.
That way.
Right. You don't have to read it over a student's shoulders. The other beauty of that is that I could plug a USB keyboard into the BrailleSense U2, and if I am working with a deaf-blind person, I can have a face-to-face conversation with the deaf-blind person using this. So, and I can also flip that display around.
Okay.
But so now I can write.
Good. Morning period. It is great to be here period.
This is the same basic device, except that I am using a computer keyboard. And I'm assuming, although I guess it's never fair to completely assume, that folks are familiar with the concept of refreshable Braille. And in case they're not, as you're looking along here, these dots are bouncing up and down so that you are literally refreshing the screen. So for anyone who's new to the field, that's what we're talking about with refreshable Braille. One of the really cool things that you can do with this is I've got a Bookshare built-in search that I can use, so that if I've got a book that I'm looking for on Bookshare, and I'm sure most of our folks are familiar with Bookshare, I have my username and password already programmed in here. And again, I could have speech going with this, but we have it turned off because if I'm in a classroom, I'm not going to be needing speech. And I can look for virtually any book that I want. Search word, we'll look for, I have no idea what students are reading. They're probably still reading The Hunger Games, so we'll put in Hunger Games. And it's going to look for a list of books that are available on Bookshare. And we find it, hey, there we go, The Hunger Games trilogy. So it's an immensely easy way to be able to find a book, to be able to download it. And now if I just hit enter on the Hunger Games trilogy, I start to download the Hunger Games trilogy. You are able to use external devices. And to that end, I can control my iPad. So now I'm hooked up to my iPad, and I can move wherever I want to go.
iTunes Store, App Store, Game Center.
And I'm controlling that from my, now I could obviously mute the speech. But in this instance, we are, I can change my pages.
Page 2 of 3.
Dave, I see we have your iPhone out here, and how can you interact with that?
I live off my iPhone. A lot of what I do for work involves travel around North America, and so I'm oftentimes using this in conjunction with my iPhone. And what we have open at the moment is just a document in Pages. I could have used a number of different word processors.
Space, M, space, N, space, space.
Not the most original writing in the world, but we have, hello, I'm writing in Pages. Cool, huh? And so at this point, I can write using my Braille Sense keyboard. I can have the speech turned on or off, and I can totally see what's going on the iPhone screen on my Braille Sense. So I can go down, I can save this.
Done, button, undo, done, button. Hello, I am writing in Pages. Cool, huh? Text field, tools, button.
And now I can save this to something like Dropbox.
Done. Share and find. Share and print. Share and print. Tools. Back button. Share
And as you're doing that, we're actually seeing it on the screen as well.
Send a copy.
Now I'm going to send a copy.
Hello, I am writing in Pages. Send a copy. Hello, I am writing in
So now
Pages.
I could just text this, or I could send this by email to wherever I wanted it to go. So I could text this to my teacher, or I could send it by email. All I would need to do to be able to go back to my email address.
Choose a format. Send a copy. Choose a Pages button. PDF button.
So I could send this as a PDF. I could send this as a Pages file. I could send this as a Word file,
Hub button.
as an EPUB file. I could also send this to Dropbox, where I could also download it on my Braille Sense. So what I'm wanting to be able to show here is that I've got complete control over my iPhone or my iPad with my Braille Sense. And now I could use this for something like Read to Go, which is the app again from Bookshare. And I'm double tapping, and all I'm doing to double tap is using my cursor routers above.
Bookshelf 0.
It gives you the option of either using a standalone device where you have 100% guaranteed accessibility built in, or it allows you to connect to a mainstream device where you may or may not have different levels of help built in. When you're spending a couple of dollars on an app, you're not going to be getting a comprehensive help system. So it lets you flip back and forth between using something that you know is going to give you help all along the way, or something that your friends and compatriots are using.
Sure.
And it lets you decide which one you want to use and when you want to use it.
And that will also work with the Android device
This
as
will
well?
work with your iPhone, iPods, iPads, Android devices, Mac, PC, you name it.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for bringing the products along. I really appreciate your time and your demonstration. And as we wind down today, I do want to remind you that on the Patents website, under our vendor contacts, we have a vendor page, and actually Jim's material are there. You can take a look at it. We have a product highlight, and take a look and see what we have. For Dave and Jim, I'd like to say thank you and goodbye for Patents TV today.
All right, thank you.